Welcome back to Sunday Reset with Will and Friends. Or if this is your first time here, welcome to a space where we talk openly and without judgment about the parts of life that we don't always share out loud. Today's episode it's one I've been wanting to do for a long time because if you're a man listening to this or someone who loves a man, you've probably felt it. This sense that men move through the world carrying a ton of weight quietly. There's this entire emotional universe happening beneath the surface that most people will never see. And honestly, most men never put words to it. So today we're going to talk about the secret emotional lives of men, the things we think, what we feel, what we fear, but rarely ever say. The goal is simple: to make one guy listening to this feel a little less alone, and to give the people who love us a window into what's actually going on. So let's get into it. So if there's one emotion that men are avoiding or admitting, even to themselves, typically it's this phrase that sits in your mind. It's, I don't want to be a burden. Men are taught early on, don't inconvenience people, don't ask for help, handle it, figure it out, hold it in. And God. The problem with that is the conditioning won't go away. It just gets quieter and more automatic. And here's the truth that most men will never say out loud. When we're struggling, whether it's emotionally, financially, mentally, our first fear isn't that we can't fix it. Our first fear is that if we tell someone, they're going to see us differently. They're going to think less of us. They'll lose trust in us. They'll worry. They'll pull away. It's wild, man. Because most men just want support. But we also don't want to be too much. So we end up isolating ourselves at the exact moment where we need that closeness. And the irony of all of this is that hiding our pain is what makes it heavier. It makes relationships harder. It makes our inner circle world smaller. And if this is you, if you've been holding on to something in because you don't want to weigh anyone down, here's what I want to hear from you. You're not a burden. You're a human being. And human beings need other humans. Asking for help isn't weakness. It's connection. And this one is deep. It's primal. It's constant. What if I'm not enough for the people relying on me? That's the next phase of this. You finally gave yourself permission to ask for help, but you're just wondering to yourself, if I'm not enough, what are the people that are relying on me thinking of me? What are they going to think next? Because men today, they carry it like armor. You got to be the rock. You got to be the provider. You got to be the protector. You got to be emotionally stable, but also financially stable, but be dependent, but be strong. But here's the secret. Underneath that armor is a massive fear. What if I can't hold everything together? What if I disappoint the people who believe in me? What if I fall short? It's because at the end of the day, it's not about failing. It's about failing them. You maybe can grapple with that idea of failing in your mind, but you sitting there thinking that you may have failed the people around you, that's what eats away at you. That's what eats away at your soul. Failing the people that we care most about. And that fear never really leaves us. It shows up in different ways. We're going to start overworking. We're going to start emotionally shutting down. We're going to show anger in places where it doesn't make sense. We're going to seek perfection in places that it's never possible. And we're going to avoid certain things because we're going to stick away. We're going to retract. We're going to retreat. We're going to focus on what we can control. And you're always going to feel behind. The truth is, I see, oh my God, if I see one more alpha motivator post on Instagram, I'm going to lose my mind because most men don't need more motivation. What they actually need, What we actually need is permission to be imperfect. To say, I'm trying my best. I'm learning. I'm growing. And I'm allowed to be human while I'm doing it. If no one has told you lately, let me be the one to say it. You do not have to carry everything alone. And the people who truly love you don't expect you to be flawless. They just want you to be present. Now, this one might surprise some people, but I think it's one of the biggest reasons male mental health is where it is today. Yes, the male loneliness epidemic has gotten itself out of hand in today's society. There's a number of things you could point against it, but there is still loneliness that has to be tackled. Like, don't get me wrong, there is definitely a group of people out there who are lonely simply because they have ridiculous standards for everyone else that exists out there in the world and refuse to acknowledge their own faults and flaws. I'm aware of that. And if you're one of those people, I got nothing better for you than to just think about it for a second and ask yourself, would you hold yourself to the same standard you're holding everyone else to? But nonetheless, there are some people out there who are lonely, some men out there who are lonely. Even the ones in relationships, even the one with families, even the one with full social calendars, even because loneliness isn't about being alone. Loneliness is the absence of emotional closeness. Women are often socialized to share, to talk, to process the emotions with friends, but men, it's the opposite. We don't talk about things when we sit together. I can't tell you how many jokes we all talk about in the back of our minds, because you can spend an entire weekend with your friends, but your buddy could be going through the worst moment of his life, a divorce, something terrible, and your girlfriend or wife asks you later when you get home, like, hey, so tell me more about it. And you're like, oh, I don't know. Because we don't do that. We don't open up. We don't open up. We don't vent. We don't cry. We don't be dramatic. We don't make it deep. We don't, our whole mantra is let's keep it light. Let's keep it funny. Let's keep it surface level. And that's a different type of loneliness. That's the loneliness that I'm worried about. Because that creates a version of loneliness that's really hard to describe. Because you are amongst people. You are amongst your friends. You are in this place. But yet you feel alone. It's like being surrounded by people, but not fully known by any of them, because you can't let them into the imperfections that you have in your minds. So what men crave, often quietly, is a friend that they can call without pretending, a partner that they can be raw with, a sense of belonging, a sense of feeling like I'm seen. But here's the hopeful part. Loneliness isn't a character flaw. It's a signal. It's a sign that we're meant for deeper connection, and it can be fixed, not overnight, but slowly, with honesty and with practice. So let's call this out clearly. Men avoiding asking for help because we don't want to look weak, we don't want to look incompetent, we don't want to be judged, we don't want to be a burden, we don't want to owe anyone, and honestly, we were never taught how. Asking for help feels like handing over control, and control is the one thing men are taught to grip tightly. But here's the breakthrough. Asking for help isn't admitting failure. It's admitting effort. It's saying, I care enough about my own life and my health, my relationships, to not try to white knuckle it through everything. Everything healthy, every grounded, every emotionally, every mature man I know has learned to ask for help. Not because they can't do it alone, but because they shouldn't have to. So this sentence that's killing men quietly is, I'm fine. It's the shield we use to avoid vulnerability. The answer we give to stop people from looking too closely is, I'm fine. The phrase that closes the emotional door, because I'm fine. But that I'm fine comes at a cost. It costs us connection. It costs us understanding. It costs us our mental health. It costs us our relationships. And over time, it becomes a prison because once you've said, I'm fine for long enough, people stop asking. Men aren't breaking down because they're weak. They're breaking down because they've been silent for far too long. If you take anything from this episode, let it be this. Next time someone asks you how you're doing, give them one sentence of truth. Just one. That's how the door opens. So if you're a man listening to this, I want you to know something. You are allowed to feel. You are allowed to struggle. You're allowed to need support. You're allowed to be human. And for damn sure, you're allowed to talk about it. You're not alone, even if it feels like it sometimes. Even if it's that particular type of loneliness that you don't know how to put your finger to. So if this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend. Sometimes men need an invitation to talk, and maybe this can be that invitation. If you're someone who loves a man, I hope this gave you a window into the emotional world that he may not show. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take care of yourself this week. And as always, be kind to each other. And don't forget to take that one step forward. I'll see you on the next episode.